power of the Internet and portable digital devices were seen in Iran last year and in earlier protests throughout Latin America and other parts of the world. Dissident bloggers involved in some of the protests met recently with Internet experts and former and current U.S. officials at a new center and institute named for former U.S. President George W. Bush. Mr. Bush opened the conference held at the center's home at Southern Methodist University. The cyber dissidents were joined by two bloggers unable to attend because of flight cancellations. They still took part by way of the Internet site Skype.
If we arrest one, 10 more become dissidents. 10 more bloggers become dissidents.
Blogger Oleg Kozlovsky described a growing movement in Russia of dissidents who post their opinions on Internet blogs despite possibility of arrest.
There's no single person can be easily targeted instantly.
Chinese blogger Isaac Mao says censors in his country are not able to crack down on all of the growing dissident voices. But Harvard University researcher Ethan Zuckerman says Chinese censors aggressively block web content.
But what they do, which is much more powerful and really much more sinister in some ways, is encourage the development of alternative platforms.
Chinese Internet users can access the government-favored search site Baidu.com. China also blocks the videos of YouTube, but provides an alternative site without the political content called Youku.com. Robert Guerra of the private watchdog organization Freedom House says Iran's government, faced with images of protests, restricted bandwidth to slow the speed of videos over the Internet.
What we've also seen since the election of last June is that they've increased their technical sophistication, so much so that there's real-time surveillance and repression. People that post a message online or send a message through their mobile phone are tracked down within hours and taken into custody.
Syrian blogger Ahed al-Hindi was imprisoned for 1 month because of his online postings. He now lives in the U.S. state of Maryland and supports democracy activists.
Before coming here, I've heard the news of arresting a girl. She's a high school student. She's 19 years of age. Instead of being in her school, she's now in the prison. Tens of bloggers remain in prison right now in Syria, subjected to ill treatment, torture, and they have no access with their lawyer.
Venezuelan activist Rodrigo Diamante writes blogs critical of Venezuelan President Hugo Chavez. Diamante has formed a group with other activists called Un Mundo Sin Mordaza, a world without censorship.
We organize and we have more representation in more than 20 countries around the world. And we all write about the importance of freedom of speech as a fundamental right. We understand that if once you lose this principal right, you will start losing the others' human rights.
Colombian activist Oscar Morales Guevara says his experience organizing millions of marchers through Facebook changed his life.
When we did that and when we saw the power of people organizing things, we decided that we were continuing the effort and then trying to speak up.
Digital technologies have changed the political landscape, says the director of the group cyberdissidents.org, David Keyes.
The Internet has given democratic dissidents power that's unprecedented in human history, literally the ability to talk to millions of people across the world with a few clicks. At the same time, there may be deleterious effects to over-reliance on technology.
But despite the power of the Internet, some at the conference insisted that face-to-face contacts and real-world activism are still needed to bring about political change. Mike O'Sullivan, VOA News, Dallas.